There are 5 exercises that you might be doing that suck. And I'm gonna show you ways to not do them and to do exercises that do the same thing, but better. Let's go.
What's up, guys? Steven here with Ageless Strength and Performance, and today we're diving into a new video. We're breaking down Dr. Mike Israetel's latest video from the Renaissance Periodization channel, the worst exercises people still do and what's better. And yeah, I've got thoughts on it.
First exercise that sucks is the plank. Stupid exercise named after him, and it's called the Superman. Take a barbell, you put it on a nice high rack so that you can delude yourself into thinking you're strong, and by leverage and ego alone, you stand up, and then you put the barbell back down.
Let me be clear, I love Dr. Mike's content. He's brilliant, he's funny, and he gives tons of free value. I've probably watched more of his videos than some of you have done squats, but I've also noticed a trend. He's super smart and sometimes a little too confident. He gives advice that's solid in some contexts, but often lacks nuance. And in this video, he straight up demonizes 5 common exercises without giving much room for gray area. So we're going to take a closer look. Did Dr. Mike get this one right? Or is his tape just as bad as the exercises he's calling out? And if you're new here, who exactly am I? I'm a coach who helps adults build pain-free strength, enhance mobility, prevent injury, and perform better, whether you're in your 30s, 40s, or well beyond. When I program for clients, I have 2 core values. First, there are no mandatory exercises. Not everyone needs to squat or deadlift to get strong. 2, no exercise is completely off limits. If it feels good, doesn't cause pain, and helps you stay consistent, then why not use it? So with that said, let's get into Dr. Mike's picks, see what he got right, what he missed, and whether these bad exercises really deserve all the hate.
Is the plank. It's an exercise that lazy trainers and lazy people in their kitchens and living rooms made up to give themselves the illusion that they're training their abs in a productive manner. Now look, planks are terrible. Why are they so terrible? Because they give you the illusion that you're doing something.
Okay, so is the plank an exercise made up by lazy trainers and people who just want to think they're training their abs in a productive way? Absolutely not. Planks aren't just for lazy people. They are an isometric contraction of almost the entire body. To perform the plank properly, you have to contract your quads, your glutes, your abs, and your shoulder muscles. Dr. Mike even admits that isometric contractions are 1/3 of what you need for muscle growth. Now it's true, to really grow muscle, you need a concentric and eccentric contraction, which both are missing from the plank. I agree. However, most people don't want or need bigger abs. They need a stronger core, which is more than just abs. Now, if you want to see your abs, that is an exercise for the kitchen and not the gym. When would I program planks? First, if you are new to training, I will program stability exercises before more dynamic movements. Eventually, you need to introduce dynamic movements, but for newer trainees, it may not be the best place to start. Second, if you are in pain, isometric contractions are a great way to train when movement hurts. Third, for fun and variety, maybe we performed a heavy upper body movement. We could pair that with a plank as a way to get more done quickly. Also, you could do them on your forearms, in a tall position, weighted, or add marching or shoulder taps. All that is fair game. Planks aren't lazy, bad coaching is lazy. So what does Dr. Mike recommend instead?
The ab rollout is actually an incredible ab exercise. Why? It allows you a huge range of motion. At the very bottom, it has the highest tension. It also allows you to really focus on the eccentric. It's graded or gradable in the center.
So Dr. Mike recommends ab rollouts. Are they a good exercise? Absolutely. Are they appropriate for everyone? Absolutely not. Dr. Mike talks about the range of motion, the contraction, and the benefits for the lats. And that's all true. But if you're new to exercise, or you've been training for years and you still have a weak core, then you will face plant.
Yep. Back up!
Oh, also, if you have back or shoulder pain of any kind, the rollout is a non-starter. If you don't have the shoulder range of motion, you're going to do funky things with your low back or your shoulders to get into the extended position. And when you don't have the mobility or the strength to control the movement, your body will compensate, usually dumping pressure on your low back or cranking on your shoulders. So yeah, ab rollouts are awesome when you're ready for them. But as a universal better than plank solution, nah, it's just not that simple. Now, what does Dr. Mike villainize next? Supermans. No, not the superhero, but the movement named after him.
The Superman is this thing which you sort of lay down on the ground like the pathetic, just totally irrelevant animal that you are, getting dust all over yourself, and then you pretend for a second that you're flying in the Superman position. Rehab people and lazy personal trainers that can't come up with better exercises say it's for your back musculature. It's for your...
Dr. Mike calls it a short range of motion exercise, and again, he takes a jab at physical therapists and trainers, calling them lazy for even using it. But here's the thing, he's wrong. There are two versions of the Superman, the isometric version and the crunch version. Are they the best exercises ever? No, but they are useful. Now, I'll be the first to admit that the Superman is not my favorite, but it will fly into my programming from time to time. See what I did there? It would be great for beginners and those with certain types of back pain. If you're extension sensitive, meaning bending backwards hurts, you shouldn't be doing it, but don't sleep on it. Like the plank, the Superman involves a host of muscles: the glutes, the erectors, upper back, and the shoulders. So what does he recommend instead?
It's called the flexion row. It can be done with cables or dumbbells or barbells, but the flexion row offers a ton of actual movement through a big muscle growing stretch and a powerful contraction at the top for that range of motion, for the concentric.
Now, this I can get behind. I actually love flexion rows. Whether you're doing them with a barbell, dumbbells, or seated, they're awesome for teaching your spine how to move under load with control. They build mobility and resiliency through a huge range of motion, and that's super valuable. Same goes for Jefferson curls, where you start from a fully standing position and roll down one vertebra at a time. It too can be a great exercise in the correct circumstances. It is another great tool in the right context, but here's the key point. They both can be potentially dangerous exercises. For most people, you'll be perfectly fine doing them. If you've got a history of low back pain and you jump straight into loaded spinal flexion, you're asking for a bad day. So if you want to try flexion rows, start light. Do the seated version. Focus on control and slowly building range of motion over time. Most people can benefit from them, but to say everyone should be doing them, that's just irresponsible. Okay, so we've got two horrible pieces of advice from Dr. Mike. Let's see what he offers up next.
Exercise number 3 that you should probably reconsider doing is the rack pull. The rack pull looks like this. You take a barbell, you put it on a nice high rack so that you can delude yourself into thinking you're strong. And by leverage and ego alone, you stand up. And then you put the barbell back down.
So next up on Dr. Mike's list of stupid exercises is the rack pull. And again, he's wrong. The rack pull absolutely has its place. It's a great way to learn and progress towards a full deadlift from the floor. Starting from an elevated position allows you to develop good form and strength gradually. As you become more proficient, you can work the bar closer to the floor over time. And let's not forget, legends like Louis Simmons and Ed Kahn use rack pulls as assistance exercises. If it's good enough for them, it's good enough for me. But more importantly, like I said in the intro, there are no mandatory exercises. Deadlifting isn't mandatory. Yes, everyone should be able to bend over and pick things up. But how often are you lifting something that requires you to reach down to within 4 inches of the ground or the floor? Not often. Instead, I like to lower the rack pull height as far as someone's mobility will allow. People with long legs and short arms, for example, aren't ideal candidates for deadlifts. They're practically asking for pain or injury. So pull from the lowest height that allows you to stay strong and pain-free. Now, let's see what Dr. Mike recommends instead of the rack pull.
The snatch grip deficit deadlift will do 2 things. 1, it will beat the living shit out of your back in the best way possible with spinal flexion and spinal extension, throwing slabs of beef top to bottom, left to right. And 2, ladies, you may or may not be interested in this, but absolutely put hair on your chest, 100%.
Dr. Mike talks about range of motion and movement under load, and that's all great. I totally agree. Developing the ability to move under load through a large range of motion is beneficial, but it's not for everyone.
You're gonna start with your butt sky high, and you're gonna use your back to unround, arch, and stand up, like so. Watch me get hurt on the first rep. Boom. Voila. And then back down.
Did you catch that? Even he said he might get hurt while lifting 115 pounds. So the guy who's villainizing rack pulls and advocating for deficit deadlifts is nervous about getting hurt on rep number 1. That's the problem. If you haven't been training your spine to move under load for a while, or if you haven't thoroughly warmed up, getting hurt should be your top concern. Instead, work your way up to more demanding variations. Start with rack pulls, then move to conventional deadlifts. Then you earn the right to use deficit pulls. Your body will thank you. Up next,
our fourth, also stupid exercise that you should probably consider doing is a tricep kickback. The tricep kickback sounds like you're getting something. Usually kickbacks mean you receive something, like money. Except for tricep kickbacks, you get usually just kind of sore elbows and disappointment. Why? Aha, biomechanics to the rescue.
All right, so I'm on board with this one. Honestly, I can't even remember the last time I programmed tricep kickbacks. There are a lot of limiting factors. Minimal stretch, hardest part of the contractions at the top, awkward positioning. They're just not a great use of time. So what does he recommend instead?
The dumbbell skull crusher allows you to impart the hardest, most intense forces at that bottom stretch. And at the very top, it's the easiest. Thus, the force curve is completely flipped over from tricep kickbacks from totally ass backwards wrong to rainbows and bunny rabbits just spring out of your elbows when you're doing skull crusher.
Dr. Mike recommends skull crushers, and here I'm with him. I love the range of motion and how you can really overload the stretch position. Here's a tweak I suggest though. Try moving your elbows slightly back instead of keeping them straight up. That'll increase the range of motion and give your triceps an even deeper stretch. Try it. You'll fry your triceps. Last up on Mike's shit list.
Final exercise for today that you should really reconsider doing if you're doing it at all. And if you've posted about it on Instagram, you still got time to delete the post. This lift is the 1 arm at a time dumbbell press.
Now, I get the criticism. 1 arm presses mean less weight and longer sets, but there are also some solid benefits. First, your working side is forced to stabilize while the other side presses, which can help build shoulder stability. Second, you recruit more of your core to resist the rotation. Third, and most importantly, it adds some variety and fun to your training. And it's okay sometimes to sacrifice a little bit of the science for the sake of fun. So what does he recommend instead?
So what should you do instead of the warm 1 arm, 1 at a time dumbbell, full extend, full locked out press? I got a real weird suggestion for you that might hit different. A regular dumbbell press with both arms.
He suggests the regular dumbbell press or 1 arm machine press. And honestly, I'm good with that. The regular dumbbell press is a better mass and strength builder and saves time. All valid points. As for the 1 arm press, machine press, once you remove the balance challenge, I personally lose interest. In that case, I'd rather just stick with the regular dumbbell presses or regular machine presses. So there you have it. Dr. Mike trashes some great exercises and recommends some great ones too. So here's the takeaway. There are no bad exercises and no mandatory ones. If your goal is to get as big and jacked as possible, focus on the basics, large ranges of motion, controlled eccentrics, and paused stretches. But if you want training to be fun, lower your injury risk, and improve mobility, variety and creativity have their place. If you want help building pain-free strength, boosting your mobility, preventing injury, and performing at your best, follow me at Ageless Strength and Performance on Instagram. And if you got value from this video, don't forget to like and subscribe. See you guys in the next one.